Texas OU weekend. So in honor of that, it's episode 33 of the BEBC
BS
podcast. Number 33, guys. So today is in honor of the great Tony Dorsett.
What? Who?
And Allen alum.
Allen alum.
Bradley Waddell.
Bradley Waddell.
His
Number
game
33.
is much bigger than his height.
He was a player. Of 2008, 9?
Eight.
Infamous for the opening kickoff, got sick on the sidelines of the state championship game.
There you go. How awesome is that? Something to be remembered for.
It's
Texas
funny
OU,
because I didn't remember that.
Chunk hurler.
Were you even at that game?
Yes, I was at that game.
James
Nice
was.
for you to be there.
He was cruising.
I was cruising, dude.
We have a special guest today because
Who?
it's off week.
Who is it?
It's
We had a doctor make a house call. Oh,
Doctor make a house call.
doctor.
Yes.
We have a doctor in the house.
I don't know how much doctoring I could do, but I can make a band sound good.
Dr. Phil Obado, Director of Bands for Allen
Dory
High
Ollie,
School.
back to
In the house.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Talking football. Well, we're not talking band. We're talking football.
We're going to talk about band parents.
Oh, we are?
Yeah.
You can do that.
I can do that.
He's going to jump in and join us. We thank you for coming. I know
Glad to
we've been
be here.
trying to do this for weeks, and we finally got you. You're a busy man, so we appreciate you coming out and hanging with us, the Knuckleheads, for a little while.
Glad to be here.
Good.
He's curing music.
Oh, is that what he's doing?
Yeah.
He's molding the minds
Exactly.
of young Americans.
He's enjoying his bye week.
Actually, I am enjoying my bye week.
I bet.
Yeah, we'll get into all that too.
Sure.
But man, it's been a mess for y'all. Especially, I know it's probably worse when it rains for y'all than anybody else
Oh.
that participates on Friday night.
Yes.
And so
the
we'll talk
woodwinds.
about
We'll talk
that
about that
later.
We'll
But
talk about that.
we took a field trip last night.
It was a trip. Fuzzy's Tacos was good.
Went over to the great city of Rockwall.
Ooh,
Across the lake, across two lakes actually.
Yeah. Well, two branches of the
Two
same
branches
lake.
of the same lake. Made it over there. Went to Fuzzy's. Had dinner
It was good.
with the great Katie Fleener and her boys.
And Marshall and Nancy, awesome.
Marshall, Nancy
Awesome.
Fleener, and a bunch of the coaches' wives from the Mesquite Skeeter High School football team.
Yeah. Go Skeeters.
I was getting bit all night.
The bugs were out.
They were. I actually
There was
got
other people getting bit too.
Yeah. So we go to the game. We talk to Coach Fleener for the game. We're excited for him and everything. And so we get to see a game of, we'll just say it's different than anything
Yeah.
we've ever experienced before. And it's amazing because I tweeted that out last night because I'd never seen it. It was 4-0 at halftime. 4.
Yep.
It's like a baseball game. 2 safeties.
Yeah.
And it was a defensive struggle all night long, which is very what we're used to. So it was
We're spoiled.
we are spoiled. It was interesting to see, but Ski took a tough heart. Boy, it was close too. They lost 6-4.
Missed a 46-yard field goal by inches, just off to the side. The kid had a lot of
He
leg.
did, and he just missed it. And then Heath,
that was wide right.
it was wide
Was it
right.
not,
Come to
Mark?
think of it,
There you go.
Yes.
Florida
That's
State.
right.
I got that.
Yeah.
I got that.
I get that all the time. See.
Then there was
FSU
wide
boy
left
right
too,
here,
just to even it out.
So, Rockwall, he scores in the fourth quarter, 6-4. They go for the extra point. It's blocked. Mesquite picks
Picked
it up.
We think we might have a tied game.
Gets
Go,
back to
go,
the 50-yard
go.
line and get tackled. It was going to be so awesome if it was going to be 6-6, but it didn't happen.
With 3 seconds.
And we would have gone into
basically.
overtime.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So the
Still be there.
The Skeeters took a hard one last night.
Sudden death,
6-4.
please. Somebody put me out of my misery.
We had fun in Rockwall, and it was good to see the Fleeners and
Yeah, it was good
family,
visiting.
the boys.
Good
That
to
was
see
the
him.
main goal, was going to see them. and
That's
stuff.
right. So continued success to the Mesquite High football team. Coach, good luck to you the rest of the way. We'll see you down the road. So the Eagles were off last night.
Resting up.
We did beat
The
Bye,
band
though.
was off last night.
That bye was
You
they
were
got a
off.
We
tough
beat
defense.
Bye.
We didn't put up any points.
So the big one this week. I think this is going to be the big game in the area. Whether it's going to be a big game or not is yet to be decided.
What's the setup?
It is set up.
It is the
and
setup.
the setup started last week
Exactly.
with the Plano East, I guess, student section at the end
Well,
of their game.
not according to Diggs, it wasn't.
Well, but going into the game, I mean, the Prosper and Plano East were a real kind of matchup that people weren't sure how it was going to go. Prosper had been scoring a lot. Plano East had been scoring a lot, and Plano East throttled them. And so at the end of the game, they're feeling they're feeling their wild oats. They didn't score in the last half, second half, and they're feeling their wild oats at the end of the game. And what did they do?
they do what every
They throw it out there.
whose frontal lobe is not developed is they say something stupid.
And that would be,
We want Allen,
We want.
and
which
we
is
will-
great. You know, hey, I'm glad they did
Yes,
it because it's
yes.
fodder for us and fodder for all the fans. 'Cause, you know, and I know some people have jumped on that.
And it makes for good fluffy tunes, cartoons for Randy Bridges. Thank you,
Randy
Randy.
did a good one
That's
this
that's
week.
a
Yeah,
pretty,
that was a good one.
pretty great.
So there you have it. They want Allen, and guess what? Friday night, 7:00 in the.
Be careful for what you ask for.
I wonder how far into the game will our student section chant, you got Allen.
You got
Oh,
Allen.
never mind. They won't be able to hear them. They'll only be 7.
Oh my gosh.
They're award winning.
It's like the famous words of that ref said when we were at 7-on-7 that one year, and the opposing parent was.
You got to stop
complaining.
giving it to him.
Can I say it?
I'm setting it up for you.
Well, I can do a good job doing it myself.
We'll do it.
Well, I was trying to until you
Stop,
interrupted.
go.
Sitting there complaining to the ref, saying, "You got to quit giving to them." The ref turns around and says, "They're taking it. I ain't giving them anything."
That's what it
Take what they want.
Taking what they want.
So here we go with the GOAT. So Plano East comes in with, I looked at the stats this week, and they're very similar to Allen. 45 points a game, giving up 10 or 11 points a game. They do have they did until last night. I know the stats are updated, and since our conference, our district didn't play last night, their quarterback wasn't leading the area in passing yards.
Bai got the better end of that.
1,478, I think, was what that was. I've got it here somewhere. There we go.
1498.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Brandon Mallory, 15 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. Got 3 receivers with over, each of them got 24 or more catches, averaging about 16 yards a catch. So they got big play capability. And then their running back has got 600 or 700 yards as well. So, I'm sorry, that's not true. Either way, they've got a very good offense and a quote-unquote stellar defense. And I know that's what everybody has been talking about the last week was their defense.
It's about time we had some competition in this district.
And
But do we?
Well, that'll be determined on Friday, that's for sure.
I think that's brought up every year when we play Plano East. They're supposed to do this and they're supposed to do that. I mean, one year was really tough where it took us down to the last play of the game to finally finish
Wasn't that
them
the
off.
laser pin game?
Yeah, the
yeah.
Thursday night ESPN game. Yep.
But we'll see.
Yeah, and their passing attack is going to test our defensive backs, and that's an area that's been potentially the weakest.
We say that, but I don't think they've met a line, a defensive front seven like ours. And quarterback can make all the passes in the world, completions of the world when you got all the time in the world. And I just don't think he's going to have time.
Well, that's the test.
We'll be in the backfield just like we
Jernigan
have,
and the rest of the defensive line are going to be after him.
taking handoffs and blocking passes.
And every year Tepper has said, that Plano East is going to be the one that takes Allen down. And even last week I listened to him on his show,
They're
and
legit.
he was talking about how legit they are, and
Well,
see how legit they are to quit.
I saw that too, and then I don't know what part of the thing he said it, but he goes, it's going to be a good game. Will they win? No, I don't think Plano East will win this game, but we'll see.
Well, it'll be interesting too because they have I know from a defensive side of the ball, they do have a Texas commit, a 4-star defensive back that will be probably matched up on Theo. So that'll be interesting to see.
Texas OU 2 weeks in
There
a
you
row.
And we're going to have to rely on a bunch of sophomores. What are we going to do?
The adjustments if any Allen makes to that, and what Grant makes to that, because Grant and Theo have been together 3 years, and they're very comfortable with each other. So that matchup will be interesting to watch to see what Allen does.
I will bet that kid will probably have a couple pass interference calls and flags against
We
him.
shall see.
Yeah.
We shall see. I'm kind of excited about it, like you say. It's been a long time since
Yep.
Allen's really had in district somebody that you really went like, this might be tough, and it might be hard to beat. And so, and I'm not saying that's the case here. I'm saying they're 5-0. They're just like Allen, though. The combined record of their opponents is under 500. Allen is the same way, and so it's not like you can look and say, well, our competition's been better. Although when you look at it, I think ours has been a little bit better. But the record doesn't indicate that.
Yeah, we played Horn.
But we do hold the number
Who
one.
still hasn't won a stinking game. They got beat again last night. For the team that everybody was like, they may lose their first 4, but they're going to run the table in district. Rockwall jumped on them last night.
Probably.
408 total yards between the two of them in the first quarter.
Yeah, you'd have been playing the first down thing a lot last night in that game.
Just hit it on a loop.
Yeah, just hit the button. That's a good idea. Yeah, that was crazy. But Rockwall beats Horn. They're still, winless, which is hard to believe. They were so touted coming into the year. Again, they set up a murderer's row for their non-district schedule. But
I plan on being there Friday. I hope.
our buddy Nolan, let's let everybody know. We're going to go ahead and preface this in case you see him Friday night.
He may be drugged up.
Or Saturday morning.
He's having
Numb
surgery
tongue.
Friday. So he's planning on coming to the game.
Only time I could schedule it.
We won't know the difference in how he acts.
That might be true too. I'm not worried about his actions. I'm worried about what comes out of his mouth.
Yeah, we may have to. I've got duct tape in my car.
There you go. Bring that in. So if y'all see Nolan,
The anesthesia may have almost wear off by the time we get to the game time.
We'll make sure you're okay, Nolan.
Golly. Talk about a severe case of numb tongue.
But that's dedication.
I'm going to try.
So
If I have to Uber up there.
I was gonna say, if you need us to come pick you up, let us know. We'll get you there. So Friday night, 7 o'clock, Plano East and Plano East and Allen.
Kyler's
For the
wearing a
district
hoodie.
lead, I guess it would be.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
there you go. Anybody else got anything else on that game?
Nope.
No.
Nope.
All right,
Bring it
now we're
on.
having some fun.
All right.
Bring it on.
It's your turn.
It's my turn.
Okay, so
Again.
doctor, about prostate health. I was wondering.
I could tell you you're in tune or out of tune. That's what I got.
You got me. I got. Dang.
All right, let's see if I'm out of tune.
Needle
Whoa.
shut her down. Or small.
8:30 in the
I
morning.
know, you got to be careful. This crew, you got to be careful.
We've been up for a while.
Nah. Well, all right, we're excited to have you here because we're, like I said, most of us are band parents and have been around the program a long time. Obviously, you see all the band stuff on the wall from my kids and my wife's kids and the Rose Parade and all that stuff that the band does, which is awesome for us to get to be a part of. It was really cool. You get a lot of pride. And did you go to the Rose Parade when we went back years ago? Yeah.
Years ago.
And
When
I
it
went
rained
the most
and rained
recent
and
time.
rained. Yeah, I paid for my daughter's clarinet to get repatted.
There you
Yeah,
go. But
Oh, yeah.
when you're sitting in the
Dang
stands
woodwinds.
on Colorado Boulevard and that starts marching by, that'll put you talk about lumps in your throat. I know you did that. That'll put a lump in your throat.
It's so impressive.
Yeah, it's
so
impressive, and it's a big sense of pride. So we get the escadrille. We know what it's about, and we have fun with it. And we have fun with the kids. We sit right above them, so we talk to them a lot. You don't know that, so
Right, as long as they're playing.
Yeah.
We see all their shenanigans
Yeah.
that go on.
we go.
I hear the back row's pretty.
They're raucous.
They're low brass. They're
Yeah.
tuba players.
You know how those tuba players are, but
Well, and we only have 16 this year? We're down.
We're 17. Yeah, we're a little down. There's some good quality numbers in the numbers.
That's
though.
good. Well, quality's where it's at. It's not always about numbers. We like the numbers.
Well, the numbers are still high.
Oh, yeah.
So.
Well, you want to get kids participating, and
Yeah,
that's what we love
absolutely.
about the escadrille and what you've got going on.
well, we hadn't had the opportunity to get with you since you've been here, so we wanted to get with you,
Sure.
get your background, how you ended up in Allen, where you started, and just go from there. So I'll just start with that, and I guess you can go back to your college and,
Sure.
and where you, how you ended up being a band director, and how you ended up
Sure.
in Allen. So,
Well, glad to talk about it. My story's it's kind of long and convoluted, but I'm not originally from Texas. I'm from Florida, and I know I've heard
I
about
know.
this Texas football thing.
Yeah, but you got here as quick as possible.
I did. I tried to get here as fast as possible. So I actually taught in South Florida and Orlando for about 12 years.
All right.
And I got my bachelor's degree from Ithaca College in
what in Orlando High School?
I taught at University High School.
Okay.
Right next to UC.
Because my parents lived in Lakeland. I lived in Lakeland
Okay.
for a long time,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
that's 30 miles apart for those
Yeah.
of you who don't know from Orlando. So,
Absolutely.
go ahead.
I taught in Central Florida for a while, and then my wife and I started talking about, hey, you always want to do the college thing, and pro tip: Orlando's a great place to visit. It's a great place to visit. It's so much fun. Living there is great too. I got some friends.
That's okay.
that live
We
there.
don't have any Florida listeners.
But
Yeah, that's all right. But
Yet.
we're glad not to be in Orlando and Florida.
Yep.
Florida, it's a great place to visit, but you know, I've learned my lesson, and you know, the people in Texas and the athletics and the football in Texas is right at home for me. Let me tell you that. But I ended up getting my master's degree at Florida State.
Oh, here we go on the wall.
You know, they play Miami.
They do.
Excuse me,
2:30.
he's trying to share his life with us. We don't need that.
I could share about the Seminoles.
There you
I'll-
go.
I
See?
Free Shoe University.
That's right.
Well, you know,
Vomit.
I
So
was.
when were you at Florida State?
I was
What
at
year?
Florida State 99, 2000. So they won a national championship when I was there.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah. So we there was a little bit of there's some Dillards happening there. If you want to talk about that, that was the Dillards' time.
So what happened with the national championship when you were at Baylor?
Stop.
Oh, sorry.
Hey, there was a good run there for a while. So
There.
FSU. Okay.
FSU, we're talking
To get your
FSU
master's,
right now. So I got my master's degree at FSU, and you know Bobby Bowden's a trombone player. Anyone if you knew that?
No, I did not.
He is. Bobby Bowden's a trombone player, and what we would do after every single football game, he'd go up to the band, congratulate the band, and throw his cap up to the band every single football game.
Wow.
He's
Wow,
so
that is
classy.
cool.
Class
That
act.
is cool.
I don't know if you knew that.
I did
No.
not know that.
Yeah.
Cool.
Wow.
So and there was a time he thought he wanted to be band director too. So
I think you made it
Man.
right.
He did,
he didn't have the chops to be a band director. He
That's like in the small churches where the preacher has to lead the choir.
That's right. But he's class act, and you know with what they're doing, they're rebuilding there right now. But but Bobby's welcome in, and I really like seeing Bobby at the games again.
Yeah.
So I think that's super cool for Seminole Nation. Anyway, we're talking about Allen. So I ended up getting my doctorate degree at Michigan State. Spent some time at Michigan State. Kirk Cousins was the quarterback when I was there. So
Wow.
and
You like that?
Kirk Cousins he was great at Michigan State. Let's just say
Remember
that.
that comment?
Yeah.
You know, what's his name? Running back, Pittsburgh, who's not playing.
Le'Veon
Bell.
Bell.
He was there.
Yeah.
And the band tried to play "Ring My Bell" every single time he got a touchdown. It didn't really work.
It doesn't come over as well in marching
That's
band.
funny.
They need to do a little bit of that at Pittsburgh right now. But anyway, so after Michigan State, I taught for a year at Illinois State. And it was a one-year position, and then I got the job as assistant director of bands at Baylor, and I was there for 3 years,
Okay.
3 great years. Some great people there. We can talk football there, but let's not. Let's just go over.
Glaze right over
Let's
that.
glaze right over football.
Yeah,
I
you
was
were there a
there.
little rough time.
I started there. It was a great time.
Yeah.
And very quickly it turned into a rough time. But there's some good people there, and Coach Rule he's for real. And those kids, he's got those kids in the right place. They're young, and they're playing some good ball. They just some tough breaks are happening, and we'll see how they do against Kansas State today.
Yeah, it's a good test for them.
It'll be a good game for them. And I heard about the Allen opening, and a friend of mine who teaches in high school band in Louisiana, I was going to work his concert band camp, and he says, "Hey, this is really fun. We're glad to have you around." And I said, "I miss a lot of this stuff." And I said, "What, the high school thing?" So I love the college thing. I love getting up at 9 a.m. and going in and not having rehearsal at 7 a.m. But he says, "Well, you think about it. That big school in Texas is open. What, Allen? That's huge." It's like I'm good. So I'm good. That's too big of a program. I'm really happy at Baylor.
It's a lot of cats to herd.
It is a
And
lot
then
of
the
cats
recruiting
to herd.
started.
The recruiting did kind of start.
That's what we do.
I'm really good friends with one of the middle school band directors she's the head director at Curtis Middle School, Linda Arantia, and she actually taught in Orlando for a little bit. We had a couple phone calls and TMEA, which is the state music educator conference in San Antonio. We had lunch and we started talking a little bit about Allen, and she had me talk to the fine arts director, and so I said, okay, I did. And I talked to my colleagues at Baylor, and it's like, I'm not going to do this. And it's like, but you're thinking about it. It's like, a little bit. You should go through. You should just see what happens. You can always. I was intrigued. I really was intrigued. And they said, just go through. You can always say no, thank you. And so we went through the process, and I'll be honest, it was like a college process. With the candidates they lined up, it was stage 1, stage 2 was rehearse the band, stage 3 interview with the principal, and after I got through stage 3, I was actually in New York City with the basketball band, with the Sweet 16 game. Unfortunately, the basketball team got beat pretty bad by South Carolina. That was a good team, but we had a great time in New York City. But just walking around New York City, I got a phone call from the principal, Dr. Johnston, and he was offering me the position. I was like,
oh, really? It's getting real now.
I got to actually make a decision now. So honestly, with the help of the directors at Baylor, it came down to, you know, who you serve and what the students that you have. And I really do love the age group, the high school kid age group. I love the college environment, you know, college athletics, the college kids. But I've taught public school for such a long time, and I have a heart for, you know, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18-year-old kids.
You're still able to more easily mold them, maybe, than the college
I think
kids?
the influence is there, and that was one of the things I really missed. You know, after leaving public school, was having the opportunity to influence and mold and make some great musicians and great young adults, and it really came down to that, and the sheer fact that Allen's an anomaly. No one has.
That's one way of looking at it.
Yeah. I mean, everyone wants to know what the number is, and we always sort of round the nearest 100, I guess. 100. If you want to know, we always say 800, but we're 742, 744. Last year about 740. So we're holding steady. We're trying to create some culture change, but honestly, the numbers are good. We have 10 concert bands now.
Yeah.
Wow. 10 concert bands, and we have a lot of kids, a lot of influencing going on, and we have just amazing kids that do everything they're asked to do, and we've got amazing band parents that I just call somebody up, say, hey, we need to bring some tubas out to the service center because they're putting some shelves in the new semi-trailers. I can talk in a little bit.
Yeah.
And
get your pit bulls out there.
That's right. The pit bulls show up in about like 5 minutes.
They're ballistic.
It's funny. I shoot a text to the head pit bull, Kevin, who's now vice president of logistics. Is what that is. It's fancy now, right?
Title.
That's a pay raise. Well,
wait. Volunteer times. Yeah, it's a pay raise. We'll triple his salary. But it's so funny. What happened this week? Monday night rehearsal. We had trouble putting one of our props together, and none of the pit bulls were there. So I just shot a quick text to Kevin. And he goes, no problem, I'll send a signal out. I was like, is this like the bat signal?
Exactly. It is.
Right up in the air.
Hey, I've seen that over the water tower there by my house.
And in 5 minutes, two pit bulls showed up and they fixed the stage for us in about 5 minutes, just like that. It's great. Awesome. We've got amazing parents, amazing students, and we've got an amazing school district that supports us financially, personnel. We are so lucky. I don't think any school district in the country has what we have or has the support that we have. So I'm really tickled to be here and just be part of the Allen community. You know, we just bought a house here in Allen. So we're here to stay, and I'm excited to be.
Commute was tough in Waco, huh?
The interview stuff. I had games and basketball stuff through all that. I was trying to get here. I was leaving at 4 a.m. so I can get back for rehearsal and a basketball game for some of those interviews.
It's a grind.
But living 5 minutes away is a lot better.
Well, you know you've got a good thing when you've got a great band when it becomes a talking point on the message boards about how involved they are.
On football message boards, yeah.
Football game.
So which side of 75 do you live on?
Oh, no.
Oh. You know, it doesn't matter because Allen's a great community.
Good answer. Great answer.
Well, this group could definitely
This is Coach speak here. We put up with Coach
This
speak.
isn't Justice
You are on the west
Senate
side.
hearing.
So that is the west side. Okay.
Well,
Yeah.
we're Allen.
We are.
We are West Allen.
You know, start your own high school then.
Like Thad said, in this group it does matter. So, we only got one West Sider, and so we make We make
Hey, that's enough.
we have fun.
It's all good. Hey, it's funny you say that because
I can look it up right here. If he just bought a house,
yeah, you don't need to look up our
Colin Ted.
Yeah, we don't.
Let's put his
I gotta
address
tell you-
out there.
I gotta tell you, living in town is awesome. I'm out mowing the yard, and this kid starts riding his bike. Hey, Dr. Obado! It's like, hey.
You got friends every turn.
Yeah.
Going to eat lunch?
It
Hey,
is.
Dr. Obado.
It is a small community. It's amazing how often you'll run into people. You
And
know.
I love it. My wife is like, "Oh my gosh, we can't go anywhere." It's like I think
And
it's
that's
fun.
the thing. And I had this a little bit. I was on band board for a while, and I was a president for a couple of years. And people would come, "Hey, Mark, how you doing?" And I'm like, "I have no idea who
I don't
you
know
are,"
you.
you know. But they just know you, and so you're in that position where everybody knows you, and you're like, I don't know these people, but you know they know you, and probably because you're teaching their kid.
You know, it's honestly, it's a huge responsibility because, you know, if you don't do the right things and you don't spell out Eagles, mistake one, my first year, I hear it. My inbox gets angry. And, you know, a lot of people don't understand unless you're there and part of it.
Yeah.
You know, spelling out Eagles, I mean, it's a symbol. You know, the band represents everybody in Allen, and the football game on Friday. It's more than just a football game. It's more than just halftime show. It's the whole community comes out, whether it's east or west.
Exactly. That's
We
what
all
I've been
come
trying
out.
to tell these guys for years.
You won't be able to cross the border here too long.
Whatever.
But
Fence up.
Build
it's
that wall.
it's just incredible seeing everybody out at the stadium at the football games, just supporting Allen and the community, and it's a responsibility. So, and I don't take it lightly when I see everybody. I want to know everybody's name.
Sure.
I say, I'm sorry. You have a son or daughter in the band, and they say, and we have a, you know, at the Kroger, we'd have a conversation just talking about, you know, how rehearsal went, you know, and it's fun. It's a lot of fun. I love it.
It's great.
And you mentioned culture change, and then you mentioned your email. And I'm going to ask you this question.
You can talk about my inbox is fun.
I'm going to ask you this question just because a lot of people don't know, and when people don't know, that's when the rumors get started and things go on. And this was a big deal. And again, I've been out of, my kid graduated. Actually, she graduated in, what's this year? She graduated in 17.
2 years.
And she wasn't in the band her last year. So I've been gone since 16 and not involved. But you still have people pick up the phone and say, "What do you mean they're not doing Marchathon?" And I was like, I know nothing of this. So you talked about changing culture and doing things a little different, and that was a big change. And there was a ripple, and I don't know if you knew it, through the community about that. Because it
Well, I'm
was,
sure
it was
they
all,
They got very much
it
used
was
to
all
that.
over social media, and I got several calls about
neighborhoods
it, and I'm like, I don't know, you're talking to the wrong people.
Well, you
so
know,
let's talk about that.
We could talk about. You go right to it, Mark. How about that?
Dude, no punches here. We want to know.
You know, part of when I got here,
Yeah.
you know, I was even in Coach Gamble's offices. You know, it's really neat seeing the band, you know, march around the community, and it is super cool. We did it last year, and Dr. Niven, our superintendent, followed us, and he didn't realize, you know, when you follow in the RV, the kids who have issues with the heat or issues eating dairy before coming up sweating out for 6 or 7 hours, that he ends up picking them up. But it is cool. It was super cool. You know, what we found out, and, you know, one of my emails that I got, you know, no names will be happening, is like, you know, my inbox can get pretty angry, and one of them was like, "Why are you watering the band down? Watering it out?" It's like, ooh, that's tough. But there's some reasons, and the biggest reason is, I don't know. I mean, the community has sort of evolved a little bit, and I don't know. Sometimes it takes for granted a lot of things that happen, and not a lot of people came out when we did the Marchathon last year. You know, and this is the time where I was sort of evaluating, you know, why we do what we do, and just to see the amount of, and you'd have some former pit bulls and some band parents here, how much work went into putting that in together, and getting the streets closed off, and getting the police escorts, and getting Benny Bolin, the school nurse who was in the first Allen band. He's with us every step of the way, and not a lot of people came out. Both on both the east and the west side, and what happened was
You said East too.
it's a lot of the same folks sort of just came and followed the band, and kids were dropping. You know, I'm not saying kids are any any stronger or weaker. Back in the day, going uphill in the snow both ways to school.
Yeah, they used to not drop out.
But it sort of became why do we do what we do? Community support. It was wanting a little bit, and maybe it's a fundraiser, because back in the day, it used to be a huge fundraiser, and about 3 or 4 years ago, IRS you can't raise individual funds for trip accounts. It goes to the whole group. So let's just say you raise $10,000. That's a lot of money. When you divide that up 800 times, you might be making $15. Yeah. So it became, for the students, they weren't raising the money, and I think that the community didn't come out. So I was talking to, and I got support from Allen ISD folks and Tim Carroll, who's been around, former band parent, and Benny Bolin, because he's the one taking care of the kids. It's like, well, is it worth doing this? And so we tried to rebrand it, and we did the fan fest out at Waters Creek. Where we sort of we tried to keep some elements. We were trying to march down from Lowe's and the grocery store, Tom Thumb, but we couldn't get the approval from the Allen PD. So we just marched around Waters Creek, and we had a great turnout. Mm-hmm. And to answer the question, would we go back to the marchathon? Well, we're still committed to, in the next roundabout, doing the TOR again, and so the parades and that kind of thing is going to be important to us, because that's a long parade. That's like 5 miles long, isn't it?
It was, I think it's actually 6.2. Yeah,
it's the longest parade.
It's a long one
out there. So sometimes we get a little spoiled here. It's like, oh, we got the big band. They'll always be there. Yeah. Football team's always going to win. Sometimes it's like, well, stick out to the end. They're still our kids. They're still our kids out on the street. So, if I had a big uproar, well, maybe people, if the uproar was big enough, well, we'll come on back. The community wants
Or is
us.
it just people get used to hearing that it's going on or knowing that it's going on, and then when something changes, they just get upset. Well, you didn't come out.
Well, and I remember last year, that was a brutally hot day that y'all did.
Yeah.
There's thunderstorm rolled and we didn't finish.
Yeah, I remember that thunderstorm came in, and that was a dandy of a thunder. Y'all were coming. Did y'all even make it to Twin Creeks?
We were in Twin Creeks,
and then that's when it hit.
Right, and then the superintendent was actually following us. He's like, "You got to stop. Yeah, you have to stop." So we called the buses over, picked up right in the middle of
Twin Creeks. Wow. Yeah, I remember
18 buses right at the corner.
And the buses were at Green.
Yeah,
and they took off.
Yeah, we got to Kerr, I believe. Yeah, we didn't get to Green.
It's a lot of logistical work, just in general.
So I think for this, and I'll be honest, Benny and I were having a conversation. He's like, I'm so glad that we didn't finish the parade last year, because that's when you go down that hill, that's when it gets the hottest part. It's 2 o'clock in the middle of the summer, and that's where we start losing a lot of the kids. So
my son, 2 years. That's where exactly
right there, right going down to Green. Yes. So it was a mixture of a lot of things, and I know I'm new, but I'm not. It's not done. We just tried to rebrand it and have an event a couple weeks before school started. It was a great event.
It was good.
I think that once people know that it's changed, and because it signals the start of football season to a lot of people.
Right.
When they hear it come through the community, okay, football season's here and blah blah blah. Now that when the word gets out that, hey, this is what we're doing, I think it'll gain traction. I think, and
it's not like you're doing
definitely
nothing.
Easier as far as logistics go. As far as, like you said, nobody understands the effort of getting the street shut down and this, that, and the other, and then you don't have people show up. That's
right. I don't know if you look at the calendar. How many Fridays and Saturdays. This is the first weekend that I've got off. The next break I have is Christmas.
Yeah.
And not just us, but it's the kids and the kids that are working on. We have every kid in the band. We've got valedictorian, salutatorian type folks that are trying. It's an SAT weekend this week. They got to do the SATs. Having them have some family time as well. It's a commitment, and no one ever complains, because we know how good we have it here now, and it's just sometimes having a little bit of a break does help. And I think for the directors that do it, I think this is the first time that they haven't had it. I didn't know. You know, I'll be honest, I had a great time at the March-a-thon.
Yeah.
But I did see what some of the concerns were, and some of these concerns have been rising throughout the years. So, you know, not because it's a transition coming and changing it. I think I took a look at some of the positives and some of the negatives. We rebranded it, and honestly, this was the second biggest event at Waters Creek they've ever had, other than the first concert series they had. And I know we can make this bigger. We're going to give it another shot next year.
Yeah, they love it. It brings all the consumers out there too.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
So and you know, when you're talking about east and west, it's right in the middle. So,
Bringing the
Yeah,
community
take
together.
that.
right in the middle. It's on one side of 75, but it's
It's on the
right
good
there.
side.
Well,
You know, I want to see your passport.
but
No, I appreciate you looking at it. I mean, it was a question, and it's been floating around out there, and we looked at each other. We don't know, so we'll ask him when he
There's a
gets
great answer.
Yeah.
Great answer.
Well, and I'm curious and interested to see kind of where you take this. So, you know, there's some interest there. You seem to be going in a good direction. You're building new traditions, which is always something that you encourage. And if it builds and if it gets more interest in the community, at least if it's local there, go for it. I mean, it's a good thing.
Well, I like the marching from the school over to the stadium. You know, that's always cool.
That's
They're
great.
playing,
Yeah,
you know, and that brings a lot of people over there to watch them come in.
I got to tell you, my first game last year, I didn't know what to expect. It was, you know, coming from Baylor and Michigan State and Florida State.
Yeah.
The same thing. The band starts marching out, and everyone starts rushing out, and listening to the band play some March Grandioso, and it's a
So
treat.
this is Texas high school.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
And the only thing we really miss, though, is having like an Ohio State march out onto the field type thing. Or, you know, pretty much all the college teams do a march out and kind of a
Logistically,
grand.
you can't make that happen.
That's tough.
here.
We
Yeah,
got kids.
if only
Narrow
if only they
entrances
had
and
designed the
stuff.
stadium to be able to march more than 5 wide.
Don't think that was on their list of things to do. But
Well, you know, but those
Should've been.
architects knew what they were doing.
Come on, Bubba.
There's a little sour grapes there. No. Look, the architects know what they're
so it's a competition year.
It is.
Yep.
State year.
Is it not every year?
No,
No.
every other year.
Every other
alternates
year.
Every other year.
UIL and
Switch classifications every other year. And we talked about it. You talked about it a while ago. We've got new equipment, and those trucks, thumbs up.
got two new
They look
tractor
good, too,
trailers.
man.
Yeah.
Eagle 1 and Eagle 2.
We got a lot of new stuff.
Yeah.
You know, we got brand new uniforms for the kids.
Now,
And
I wanted to ask about that. How's the check-in and drop-off thing going? As far as I know, you have to do.
Yeah.
Your check-in time had to be backed up a little bit because the kids have to check out the uniforms each week.
Part of the deal about getting the uniforms was we got to make them last more than 5 years.
Yeah.
Because I think the last uniform, they're not really that old. They were 5 or 6 years.
No, it was my son's senior year, which was 13. I think was when they got those.
Right.
Yeah.
So it really wasn't long, but if you take a look at the uniforms, they're in pretty rough shape. A lot of it's because when you have a 16-game season versus a 10-game season, you're really playing another season.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's part of it, and the other part of it is when kids take things home. You know, we love our kids, but
They're kids.
they're kids
Thrown in the corner
Throw
or
them
whatever,
in the corner,
yeah.
in the back seat of the car, and
Trust
the trunk.
May
There's
not
been
get
many
washed
a
for a
time-
week or two.
There's
Or
been
a
many a
season.
times that I
Or a
had to
season.
I had to pay extra.
Tuba section.
I had to pay extra.
Right, man.
I had to pay extra at Terrell's to get a rush job, man, because my son goes, "Oh, Dad, my uniform. We're wearing white bibbers again this week," and blah blah blah. And I'm like, "Dude,
There's green
That-
dots everywhere. I don't know what
That's
that
called
is.
molten. Yes.
you know."
So to get some life out of the uniform, I told the district that we need to hold on to them. And part of the problem is, how do you pass out uniforms to, you know, I mean, I know the color guard has their uniforms and the townlets have their uniforms. You're still talking about 600
plus, yeah.
uniforms that have to get passed out. How do you? The biggest nemesis to the Allen Band is a line.
Yes.
Yeah.
When you go on a line, we wait and wait. And
Parallel
wait.
process.
It's
all about parallel.
It creates 5 times the hassle. So how do we do this? So we had to come up with, well, we got to put all the uniforms in the band halls. We have 2 now. You know, we have in construction. We opened up a new band hall, a new equipment room, and a new percussion room all last year. So with the 2 new band halls, we put half of them in one room and half of them in the others in movable carts, so we can move them in and out of the uniform room. And there's about 25 uniforms on each cart, and there's 2 SLTs, leadership team members that are on each one, and they just check them out. It's about 12. They're in charge of 12 kids. So that's how you make a big band small, when you can divide it up like
Small
that.
groups. Yep.
It takes about 20 minutes.
That's
Oh,
pretty
wow.
fast. Really.
That's amazing.
And, you know, I'll be honest, the last competition last weekend, the band directors were just hanging out in my office, just shooting the breeze, and all of a sudden they were pushing uniform carts out. It's been like 15 minutes. So these kids they want to get out.
Yeah.
So we can do this in less than 20 minutes now. So challenge accepted, it's done.
That's great.
I got to say, with football games moving up a half hour plus an extra 20 minutes, that's 50 minutes earlier than the past. So
Yeah,
that's
the
another
call
challenge.
time.
It's
That's
early.
what one of the parents was.
It's early.
Early call.
He was talking about to us about.
Yeah, but it's also nice getting home, about 10 o'clock, and you get your kids aren't up there till midnight like they normally are.
Oh, yeah.
Or are
Unless
they?
you get a thunderstorm and
Well, yeah,
halftime's
that's
at
a
10:30.
thunderstorm, which we've been seeing quite often.
How long were the trucks been in the mix? I mean, was that just
Couple
put
weeks.
together this year, or
We
No,
got
we were talking about the trucks when I was on there
for years.
Okay.
and there was
Another point.
we'd love to have one, but no, they didn't. They didn't want them.
well, I know back when the stadium opened, I was with Dr. Pepper,
Yeah.
and part of our sponsorship was going to, hey, we'll provide a trailer,
Yeah.
because I didn't understand why the Allen band of all bands
Yeah.
didn't have one.
I could tell you this. I've been in a bunch of pit bull meetings, and when you have 5 box trucks, you can zoom in and out. And again, the issue is lines.
Yeah.
How do you get everything out to the kids as fast as possible? And they understood that, and I understood that. So if we were going to continue on this route, the trucks had to have been done right, so that we can get things in and out quickly. So I went from 1 truck to 2. And I don't know if you need to have a podcast in the truck next time. There's both of the trucks have.
Those are cool.
They're both 2 stories.
Yeah.
You can put equipment underneath. You can put equipment on top. There's full shelves. 3
Big,
levels
huge
of
openings
shelves.
on the sides.
Openings on the sides. There's some shelves in the nose. We put on Eagle 1. We put all the tubas on the nose, and they just put shelving up there so we can put more tubas in there, so we can get 30 in there again. And on Eagle 2, all the battery equipment, the snare drums and the bass drums are out in the nose. On the first floor, you put all the pit equipment, the big the marimbas, the xylophones, all the things with wheels on it, and then you've got multiple shelves on the second floor, so you can put trombones. Actually, we put trombones in the underbelly at Eagle 1, and you can put all the mellophones, all the big instruments with multiple shelving on the second row, second story. And the color guard has some drawers on the undercarriage of Eagle 2. So they can just put all their flag bags.
That's cool.
And when you can put all these open doors, and we have some moms and dads helping out with equipment, we actually can get it done faster.
Yeah.
True story. We were leaving the. I love this about the Allen Band. I just love the Allen Band. So we were at McKinney Stadium last week, and we were all scrolling out while the McKinney Band was going in their truck and putting their instruments one at a time. They had their meeting. While this was going on, our pit bulls got all of our stuff on. All the kids got on the bus. We were rolling out while they finished packing. They started at least 10 minutes before we did.
Wow.
So we got 800 kids out.
Kudos.
And 2 trucks all packed up before
And
the
all the
minivan.
McKinney band sitting there going,
Wait, how does this work?
how did that happen?
Well, what's impressive is seeing 2 18-wheelers, going down the road,
With 18 buses and a police
Oh my
escort.
gosh, that's
Yeah, I passed
impressive.
them on the highway going over to
And those
Coppell,
graphics
and
on
just-
those rigs are pretty sweet.
Yeah.
It's been a great project, both the uniforms and the trailers. Another point of contention in my inbox has had with the style of the uniforms. I'll talk a little bit about that.
There you go.
Is that cool?
That was a good question.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's been talk
There's
about
been
those.
controversy about that.
Push
because,
button.
Well,
Make it start.
The push button, the big long
big play
tails, and the play
Yeah,
button.
the play button on your
Play
chest.
button.
well, let's talk style. First of all, traditional versus contemporary uniforms.
Yeah.
I think there's a little bit of there's a thing.
Yep.
And I know there's a lot of tradition here in Allen, and we wanted to go there's voices for some tradition, but there are
Yeah.
also some voices to be like, we can do what other schools do too,
Yeah.
and go out and compete. Just because we're 800 kids in this program, we can compete too. So we wanted to design a uniform that had a little bit of contemporary feel to it,
Yeah.
with some traditional ideas in there. So what are the traditional aspects? First of all, we do have, it is royal blue, not navy. It's royal blue, classic royal blue that has an ombre or it fades into the black.
Right.
And we have the black bibbers.
Never heard the word ombre.
Ombre, a fade. There we go.
There you go.
It's like
it fades
timber,
into black.
ombre, yeah.
So that's the choice of colors with that. And with the old uniforms, when we had the black bibbers on, there's about the same amount of black on the uniform. So we have the traditional blue. So we talked about Texas Heat, and we're the only band in the country, I think, that puts uniforms on the first game. So when you have these big, heavy wool uniforms, we wanted to do an maybe not necessarily a fully constructed uniform. So the kids have, it's not spandex, but it's a fitting shirt that they have. That's the blue shirt that fades into the black.
It's like a wicking material type shirt.
It is.
Yeah.
It's a lot like a dry fit material.
Yeah.
So it's a lot cooler. It breathes. And so we have a vest that goes around them. So it does have the look of a complete uniform, but when you look up close, it's really a vest and a long sleeve shirt, if you will. And what's really cool about that is if you do want to go contemporary with, say, a contest show that's a little more contemporary, you can get a shirt that fits that show, or you can put a shirt that's more traditional. That drop, the I don't know what you want to call that, the thing on the left hand side,
or whatever.
We call it a drop.
Yeah.
And honestly, that's sort of a throwback, if you will. Back in the day, in the 80s and 90s, everybody had a little drop. It wasn't as large as that, but there was a drop. You had the ruffle underneath, and then you had a drop right on the left. So
Like a sash?
A little sash.
Okay.
So it's oversized to be a little more contemporary, and it's removable, so we can actually take that on or off depending what we want. And what I was looking for is the traditional show. When the band faces each other, you have two sides of them. So one side will have the sash, and one side will not have the sash. So I thought that would be really cool. That was intentional because of what we do, the traditional show. I think that would be a really cool thing to show. The old uniform had blue on one side and white on the other side. So when you did the traditional show, you had that sort of idea of two things going on at the same time. So we wanted to maintain that level. So I think when the team, the directors decided to design this uniform, we wanted to go traditional and contemporary at the same time. We knew it would raise a couple of feathers, literally, I guess.
I see what he did there.
But yeah. But
ruffle.
But we also wanted to have the opportunity to go to contests and have that contemporary look as well. So we tried to fit both.
I was about to say, Thad just pointed out, we're missing out on a grand opportunity here. You need to go get it.
Y'all keep talking.
We'll keep talking.
So tell me something about it. Usually, it's for Allen. It's usual to have the 16 games. That's a lot longer than most bands have to participate, and so you do a transition between marching season and then concert season. And how hard is that for a band director? But not only just a band director, but a band director with 700 kids who are playing. You know, concert season is when you're in concert band and you dress up in your tux or your whites or whatever, for people that don't know. Tell us about that process and trying to keep kids, because a lot of kids are in it for the marching, but not so much for the concert and so forth.
Well, I've talked a little bit about culture change, and some of the culture we've talked about is being the best musician, the best person, the best athlete that you can be, because it's athletic, it's musical, and what we know, regardless of whether we like marching band or concert band, I think everybody here, it's a Texas thing, loves contests.
Yeah.
And we've discovered last year that the better we play, the better the contest thing goes. And we discovered that midway through the season last year.
Yeah.
And then they became this, well, we want to get good because we are good. And they are. And this light bulb went off with the band last year, right after our first contest, that, man, if we play our instruments better, we can do this.
Yeah.
And this was not just the top kids. This was the whole band. And when you talk about this band, there's kids that just want to go to football games, but in this band, which is great, which is awesome. But now they were like, I want to get good. And we started this culture change through the second semester, the spring last year, through the summer with the leadership starting up. And these kids are just, they want to get good. So what we do is we split up in the fall as well as the spring in the separate concert bands. Like I said, we have 10. So each of the directors, they're responsible for their band. Some of them have two bands. Some of them share a couple bands, but we work on a lot of the same things that you do in concert band that apply to marching band.
Right.
We're still standing up. We're still doing marching band. We're still doing stand tunes. I think in the next couple weeks, when contest season's over, everyone's going to be doing concert band in class, and we'll still be doing our morning rehearsals for the playoff games and the rest of the football season. So it's just a slow process, and getting the students to really love music just as much as they love marching, and just as much as they love football. Yeah. They're great kids. So, and I think that's the it. When you have great kids, you can do anything with great kids.
Yeah. And so, are section leaders a big part of that?
Oh yeah, there's about 80. We have about 80 section leaders, and what we call drill instructors, and they help out on the field. They help out with the uniforms, and they've been really instrumental in helping with this culture. And we are starting to run a really efficient machine with these guys. Not saying it wasn't in the past. It's just a little different. Yeah. And the focus is they're super focused. They not to mention there's a lot of. I hear it's like basketball does this, shooting does this. Yeah. A couple of things like how's the band going to be? I was like, well, we're going to go out and compete. We're we got it's a state year for us too. So we're working really hard. The kids are focused. We're trying not to make it about state because it hasn't been done in Allen since 1988 when they won state in 1988. Yeah. And since the community got big and the band got big, that's a lot more feet to take care of. It's a lot harder. So these kids they know about 1988. We talk about it. 1988 was the last time, and it was a row of state finals with the band. So there's a lot of tradition, and that's the kind of tradition we're bringing in. And the kids are proud. They want to do it. It's awesome. Yeah. It's awesome.
Well, we appreciate your time today. We're going to cut this a little short.
It's all good.
Some of us have some places to go. Hook 'em.
One last question.
What?
Is that traditional or contemporary?
That is not traditional.
Are you familiar with that? That's from several
his time.
years ago. The color guard. That was one of the color.
Really?
Yeah, the color guard had a.
Don't you want to bring that back?
Had a show.
Can I borrow that?
You may. If I get it back.
If you promise to lead a stand tune while wearing it.
Yeah.
On the boo-ball.
There you go.
Boo-ball.
I'll bring it. I'll bring it down there to you.
We directed
that would
the band.
be awesome.
We directed the band one year.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Or twice.
They used to. What,
Was it
that was a
twice?
silent auction thing, wasn't it, Mark?
Yeah. Yeah.
To direct the band.
To direct the band, so we did that.
was
Trust
fun.
me, your job's not in jeopardy.
But it was funny. Well, I'll show you the pictures later.
Absolutely.
Thanks for what you do on Friday nights. We enjoy
Yes,
it.
thank
Way
you
to
so
keep
much.
kids motivated,
Absolutely.
and involved. Because a lot of bands aren't involved in the game, and y'all definitely are, and you make a difference, and we see it.
And his kids have fun at the game. We see that from where we sit.
Yeah.
So.
And
They
we've
love
seen the evolution of you getting the timing right for the plays and stuff, and
That's
Well,
different,
it's
too.
going.
I tell you what's funny, when you brought up athletic, I know they have to practice cardio because when y'all hold that last note sometimes, I feel like I'm in the water. I can't breathe. I'm like, how are they holding that note out?
They're
man?
on 3
'cause
minutes.
there's so many.
Can I talk a little bit about that? So my inbox on, I'm going to get an inbox after this Plano East game.
From all 5 of our viewers. Yeah.
Well, I got to tell you, I get these. I can't believe you hold these loud noises out so our boys can't hear.
So annoying.
And I don't know if you've noticed the last home game. They did this goal line stand and we picked
Yes.
up a fumble.
Yeah.
I was like, we got to help our team out. So our band was just playing the crud out of their instruments. Penalty. They could not. I couldn't hear the
Yeah.
energy right in front of that band, right in front of the team, right in front of us was just palpable.
Oh, it's crazy.
And I knew we were part of.
Trust
part of
me,
that.
our opponents' fans notice that, and the team obviously.
And like I said, we sit above you. We
Yeah.
sit one section over, and it's
What about that
It's a
state
beat.
game that playoff game against
Against
DeSoto?
DeSoto.
yeah.
That was,
yeah.
did you
Claude
know about
Mathis called out the band. They said band cannot play during the play.
So the
Oh my God.
the
This
whole
whole crowd
stadium
we almost
erupted,
brought
You don't mess
and
with our
Don't
band
mess
when
with
it
it.
comes to
they couldn't hear. They couldn't hear, and the
So keep doing
referee
what
said,
you do.
"What?"
Absolutely. I have a
Right.
great time. I love it. And you
Yeah.
know what? We are UIL legal with what we do. I cut them off at the right spot.
Yeah.
And we're prepping them for playoffs because we're going to do what we do.
Yep.
Yep.
We're going to do what we do.
Nothing they
Yep.
can do about it.
Well, thanks again for
Thanks,
joining
sir.
us. We
Yep.
appreciate you stopping by. We'll do it again. And maybe we
Absolutely.
will do it from inside of one of Eagle One. Or
That would be
Eagle.
cool.
We got to set this up. We'll make it happen.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, that sounds
All right, we'll
exciting.
save it there first.
Hey, what's with all the reverb?
Yeah, exactly.
Echoey. Can we kill the echo?
Yeah, so thanks for being here, and until next time, folks, it's over, and we're out.